Okay, recently I was speaking to a practice owner who was really frustrated with the leadership team. So the reason for that is because they were making decisions that they didn't necessarily agree upon. Now, this is interesting because a lot of owners usually will come to us and say like, well, I can't get my team to do things. Or it's just like, they keep asking me what they could do. And it's just driving me nuts because they have to make all these decisions. Well, here's a team that's actually making decisions and doing the tasks. They're just not doing it correctly. So I took them through a simple exercise. And if you stick around to the end, I'll give you the same exercise. You'll be able to download it, use it yourself. And then also what's really cool about it is you could take every single one of your team members through it to kind of see where that they land on this like accountability dial. So the first thing that I want to do here is I want to walk you through what I walk them through. So here's when it comes to accountability, there's 5 different dials that we look at. And there's some people that are just at a level number 1. And what's a level number 1? These are the individuals inside your clinic that they wait until you ask them to do something and then they do it. So this is like level 1 accountability. Maybe think about like new employees, right? Not seasoned employees, but like new employees. They're just started working with you. Maybe they lack the initiative because they lack the knowledge and they just simply are just waiting for you to tell them what to do. Okay, so that's going to be level number 1 accountability. Level number 2 is where they ask you, hey, like I got some time on Thursday. What do you want me to do? Or, hey, I had 2 patients canceled this afternoon. Do you need me to do anything? Right? So these are the individuals that will ask and then they do, right? So the level number 1 is they wait. They wait to be told and then they do it. And then level number 2 is they simply ask and then do. Okay. Now, level number 3 stands for 131, or they give a recommendation and then they do it. So what level number 3 looks like is they'll come to you with a problem. They'll come to you with 3 solutions, and then they'll have like, well, this is what I think we should do. What are your thoughts? Which is kind of refreshing because now you're not really thinking about all the things and coming up with it on your own and having decision fatigue, which most owners do. These are the individuals that are going to come to you with a problem, right? They're going to have 3, right, recommendations, and then they're going to just pick the number 1, right? What's the number 1 thing? This is what I think we should do, okay? Now, here's where we get into the issue with one of our owners. They had a team that they were doing these updos, as I would call them, right? So they do the activity and then they update. And for whatever reason, you don't like the update, right? So these are individuals that are on level number 4, which is they are going to, do the activity, right? So there's a problem or whatever, they're trying to solve. They're going to then do whatever to correct it. And then they are going to update you as the owner. Now, the problem there is that you didn't like what they did. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. And then the last thing, which a lot of owners are wanting to get to, is autonomy. This is basically like there's a problem, they figure out their own solutions, they solve the problem, and they don't even need to update you, right? So imagine you got a 1-star review on Google and they went and they called the patient, they rectify it, they got the person in, they switched the providers, whatever. Patient then went in, changed the review back to a 5, no harm, no foul, right? They don't need to get you all worked up as the owner and tell you like, I did all this stuff and this is what happened, just to go from a 5-star review to a 5-star review. Now, if they left the 1-star and then they created a 5, maybe that is something that you would want to update and then put things in place to possibly prevent it. But in this case here, it's like we don't need to be kind of bothered with that stuff. And that's where that autonomy comes in. So, when we're looking at this thing, this clinic owner, right, they were really struggling with the fact that like, hey, I'm giving them all of this stuff like we suggested, and they're just not making the right decisions. Interesting. Okay. So how do you actually use this accountability dial? So the first thing is when you're looking at this is that where does your team member actually fall on the dial? So if you got someone who waits to be told what to do, you simply just say like, hey, you don't have to wait for me anymore. What I want you to be able to do is I want you to just be able to ask me, hey, I have some time on my schedule. Hey, this is coming up. Ask me. And then they go from a level number 1 of waiting to a level number 2 at asking. It sounds really elementary, but when you're like, oh, my team doesn't do anything, it's just like, well, give them permission to start asking and start searching for things to do. Okay. Now, if you got people that lack intrinsic motivation, they just shouldn't be on your team anymore, but you want to get them from a level 1 to a level 2. Then the next thing that we're looking at here is like, well, I got people that simply ask, but then when they come to me, they don't have any recommendations. So you want to empower them by simply saying things like, hey, you have actually really good recommendations. I actually like them a lot. So why don't you do this? So when you come to me with a problem, I want you to think of like 3 possible solutions. And then you tell me which one you think is the best. And then I'll just approve or deny. Does that sound fair? Okay. So this is called the 1-3-1. We got a problem. We got 3 possible solutions. Here's what I think is the best one. So when we're looking at it like that, now you have someone that comes to you and they're like, hey, like, what can I do? It's just like, well, what do you think you should do? Well, I think I could do this, this, and this with my time. Actually, this one takes priority. What do you think? And then you give them permission. And now all of a sudden you reward the behavior, right? Because it's just like they came to you with 3 possible solutions. They picked the right one. They get it done and be like, that's amazing. Now go handle the other 2 things that you had on your list, right? So now we're ascending someone from a level 2 into a level number 3. Now, here's where things get a little bit tricky because this practice owner was taking people from a level 3, right? They have good recommendations. And then all of a sudden it was just like, yeah, just do it, then update. Well, here's the problem. Okay. You got to be able to put guardrails, all right, or guide rails on this level. Okay. So what I mean by that is that if you're just like, hey, I trust what you're doing, just go do it and then update me. And then you're like pulling the leash back a little bit. You're like, whoa, I didn't want you to do that. It's because you lack something called guardrails. And this could be simple as your company core 4, which is your mission, right? Your vision, your core values, your goals, right? So what I mean by that is just like, let's just say someone wants to do something and, you say, oh, just do it and then just update me. But you come to find out it's like not in alignment with your vision or your quarterly goals or like, why did you do that? Right? So we have to make sure that like, is this thing going to push us forward or is it simply a distraction? Right? So imagine one of your providers come in and they want to learn AI or whatever, just to automate some stuff. And now all of a sudden, like you come, you're like, why did you do that? This was more of a priority. And now all of a sudden we have this weird, like, well, you told me to just do it. And now we're walking it back. So these guardrails are more so like, I want to make sure, and by the way, these guardrails could also be here in level number 5 as well, a little less, but a little bit more, right? So the guardrails are simply like, hey, if it's a company decision, right, or possibly a departmental decision, like we're not there yet, right? But if it's an individual, like a role specific decision, then you 100% can make that. Right. So we want to put guardrails to be like, hey, I want you to be able to, do the activity and update. But if it affects departments or if it affects the company, like we're not there yet. Right. We have to build a level of trust in your decision making to be able to get there. And by the way, trust is just, setting an expectation or saying you're going to do something and doing it over and over and over again. And then the owner will build trust with you. Right. So we have to be able to put a guardrail in here so that people just don't go and make decisions, right? Change the schedule, whatever, without your knowledge, right? So if it affects more than just a specific person or a specific department, like, hey, if you're making role specific decisions or you're making department, like your department, we're fine. But if it's going to affect people outside your department, you can't make those decisions. Or if it's going to affect the company, you definitely can't make those decisions. And that's where level 4 get some autonomy, but they're not there yet. Now, when we have someone at level 4 that, they do the activity, they update, and you just keep that's awesome, right? That's awesome. That was great. That was great. Now, all of a sudden they have a kind of like a rapport with you that they're a really good decision maker and what they do actually pushes the company forward. Then you could upgrade them to more, hey, you don't have to keep updating me. Like I know what you're doing is working and crushing it. And it's in alignment with the mission, the vision also. You don't need to update me, right? Unless, right? And this is where we could put more guardrails on this, right? Where it's just like, hey, if it's a company-wide thing, like that is you have to bring me on it. If it's more of a department and a role, well, now I give you full carte blanche to be able to make any decisions you want inside your clinic, inside of your department, right? You are in charge of it, which is great. Now, you could also say, hey, a really good example of that, is this a two-way or a one-way decision? So two-way decision, meaning like I walk into the room, wrong room, I can walk right back out. Or if we walk into the room, there's really no coming back. And we see this a lot too. Like a clinical director or an office manager wouldn't like change EMRs, right? Because that's like a big company decision. And, if we walk into that room and it's not the right room, it's going to be very hard to walk out and go switch to another EMR, right? So we have to make sure we vet and do demos and it's the right decision, right? However, like if we switch from this scheduling to that scheduling, we try it out a little bit, it doesn't work, we can just go right back to it. It's not a huge deal. All right, so there's things that we could test, and then there's things that we have to come together as a company. So if this was helpful for you guys, what I want you to do next is I have a guide for you. And let me go ahead and just share that with you guys so you can see it. And I want to make sure that you guys get this information. So if this is something that would be helpful for you, then I want to make sure that I could, you could use it in your company because I know that this is something that we gave the owner and they loved it. So here's the sheet. I put this training together for you guys. So it's super simple. So if you guys want to just go through it, the reason why I tell you this is because you could take each one of your employees through this accountability dial training and be able to see where are they at on the dial and what do you need to do next in order for them to improve. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys this for you to be able to utilize in your practice. So then that way you could sit there and be like, okay, like I have Steve, and Steve right now is a level number 2. Okay, so he keeps asking me what to do and I want to empower him. Awesome. Well, what you want to do with Steve is you want to be able to get him from asking you, right, what should I do next, to coming to you with a 131, and that is where you're going to stop with Steve, okay? Now, Mary comes to you, and Mary's crushing it with her 131, and you want to be able to level her up on the accountability side of things. And now you take Mary from a 131 to simply, hey, Mary, I trust what you're doing. Go ahead and just make sure you update, and then if there's anything that I need to give you feedback on, we'll give you feedback. Right? Super simple, right? And then also like, I have Joey, right? Let's say Joey here. Hey, he just waits. Awesome. But if you got a waiter, try to get him to the point where he at least being more proactive and asking, so on and so forth. If you're interested in that training, just go ahead and click accountability or comment accountability below and we'll get you over that training.